Good morning and welcome to Office Hours, the show where we answer your technical media production questions. Today is a focus on audio day. We've assembled a fantastic panel. So let's jump right in, Courtney.
All righty. First one comes in from Berlin, Germany with Andre Delay asking, Marty, do you have personal hands-on experience with the D feedback yet? Thinking about buying it for one of our customers with a tough conference room.
And we got Marty right here to answer this question. Go ahead.
Well, good morning. Good morning. You know, I have not had a chance to personally try D-feedback yet. I am looking forward to it, however. But I do have some ideas about it and some thoughts. First of all, I want to be sure that you have watched the podcast, Jan Landy's podcast called Thinking Out Loud with Friends, where he had Devin Sheets, the developer of D-Feedback, along with Robert Scoville, who has actually tried it. And I'm going to put a link to that YouTube video in Mukana's chat. Second thing, so they explained, they would deep dive into what D-feedback is and how it works. Very good show. I recommend you watch it. But my other thought about this is if you have a tough conference room, my first advice would be to try and correct the problems the conference room is having that are causing the problems. Because using any kind of tool to remedially fix a problem artificially is never really the best approach. So, if you're having feedback issues, look at your microphones, look at your speaker placement, look at your room tuning, look at your acoustic environment. All of those things can be much better, more effective fixes than trying to patch a problem with an artificial intelligence.
Go ahead, Mickey.
Yeah, I have to support what Marty just said. If the issue is happening in the physical world, fix it with physics. No matter how much you put a Band-Aid on, at the end of the day, it's always just going to be a Band-Aid. I have a question for Marty, though. I think I watched through that entire discussion you mentioned, and I don't recall hearing a demo, and a lot of these guys were raving about it, but was there a demo done in that discussion?
Now that you mention it, no, I don't think there was. It can be used in both a live situation. It can be used in a playback or edit situation, different modes of operation, but no, I don't think they did actually demonstrate it.
All right, let's go to the next question.
All right, next question comes in from J.J. McKenna in Scabo, California. Which Mele or Beelink of diminutive size can provide 1080p to Zoom? The quieter 3s and 4s only get up to 720 at best.
Courtney.
Well, I tell you, I had a little discussion with Andy Carluccio, and he was kind enough to do a little research with Zoom on where they automatically limit your resolution based on what type of processor is in the computer. And they apparently, even though they're quite capable, those Meles and my new favorite, the GMK Tech, although it does have a fan, these G5s. These are Celerons, which have they're quad core, and they run at 3.6 gigahertz. But they have 24 execution units in the GPU, Intel GPU. But I think they limit those Celerons, they lock them out. So you're going to have to go for a Beelink. You're going to have to step it up a little bit and go for a Ryzen 7 or a Ryzen 9. Beelink makes a diminutive computer here that's a Ryzen 7 for only about $389. It's 4.7 gigahertz, and this one it's 8 cores, 16 threads, as opposed to 4 cores and no additional multi-threading. And this one's kind of nice because it comes with a 2.5 gigabits per second LAN port, and it has room for 2 NVMe drives inside, and comes with 500 gigabytes with the operating system on it. I think they've gotten a little cagey lately, Beelink has. It says it supports Windows 11 Pro. I don't know if it comes with the Windows 11 Pro license. So make sure you check that out to see whether that's included or not, because that costs you an extra $200 if you have to buy a license unless you buy it on the cheap on eBay somewhere, for a Windows 11 license on it. But the Windows, they make a Ryzen 7, they make a Ryzen 9, both of which should be able to give you, hopefully, 1080p.
Mickey?
Yeah, I was going to mention the Beelink, but another one I would also mention is the Minis Forum MS-A1. This is the older version they have now in A2. It comes in Ryzen 5, 7, and 9 flavors, and right now it is on sale for $499 in the US. It also has a whole bunch of expansion, 2.5 gig ports, DisplayPort, HDMI, and a whole lot of other expansion ports in it. It doesn't have PCIe expansion like the A2 and also the MS-01, which a lot of folks are familiar with here. But it does have two NVMe ports, so I guess you can utilize the NVMe slots for other small PCIe expansion if you need it.
Next question.
Next question once again comes in from Andre Delay in Berlin. He says, I've tested Mixingstation once with our DM7. I've found the interface quite overwhelming. Any recommendations on how to get used to it?
Marty?
Well, so for people who don't know, Mixingstation is a third-party mixer control app that supports a number of different brands and models of mixers: Allen & Heath, Behringer, Mackie Midas, Presonus, QSC, Soundcraft, Tascam, and Yamaha. And one of the coolest things about it is that it is a very similar, pretty much exactly the same interface for all of these different mixers. And one of the most frustrating things for me is that every mixer manufacturer has their own ideas about what a user interface on a tablet or a laptop should look like and how it should be laid out, and they can be extremely different. Mixingstation provides a unified interface for all of these different mixers. Everything is in the same place. You can find it easily. All of the features are there. Well, I'm going to say 98% of the features are all there. And it looks very familiar, like a mixer should look. And you've got access to all of the buses, all of the sends on faders, everything you need to do, and it's very customizable, which can be overwhelming for some people. Like, you can change the entire layout, you can do button panels, you can have custom layers, you can do a lot of things with it. So there is a user manual that you can find. If you go to mixingstation.app, you can find all of the information about the product. You can download it. The purchase price for any particular model mixer is like under $10, so it's very affordable. And for any single purchase, you can load that on up to 4 different devices. There are YouTube videos that you can find on how to do different things that are very helpful. There is also a Discord server for Mixingstation that you can get onto and review and get information, look at all of the updates, and get product support as well.
And Mickey?
Yeah, I'm a very big fan of Mixingstation. One of the great things about it is its UI, as Marty mentioned, is completely customizable, and you can have a whole set of different types of layouts for any type of board that you want. So you can just create a new layout, and then you can say, okay, I want all the channel strips smaller, larger. I can even select what is in the channel strip. I can move things around. I can resize them. And you can completely customize it. I myself like keeping just the default layout with everything on it for full mixer control. But in situations wherein I'm an A2 or I'm building the layout for an A2, I would just give them send some faders for their own mix for the A2's mix, so that once they mic up a talent, they can fade that up into their ear so that they can hear if the mic is sounding good, if there's a bad cable or whatever. So I really like how, for each very specific use case, you can have your own layout for that purpose.
Next question.
Next one comes in from someone named Nathan Samuel in Cleveland, Ohio. Looking at 2026 and beyond, what audio trends are the panelists excited about?
Chris.
Yeah, I would say just the level of modularity and adaptability in tech as a whole now. I've been having a really amazing time just in my work recently, realizing how much of my life I'm getting back because the technology I'm using is so incredibly fast now. And it ends up being a real thing when it's really, time in, money out, in projects and in all of this. People have families, you have a lot of different things that you're trying to juggle in your life. And you really, if you can go into a production and just hit it really hard and really efficiently in a quick time frame, to the point that when you come back to it later, it still sounds great, then all of a sudden, like, you're making more money now, your whole life is more adaptable. And so that's the real thing that I'm seeing and the real excitement I have in just all of this technology right now, that pretty much from this point on is that it is just so effortlessly fast and just works so well that, I don't know, anybody who is dealing with the stuff in, in the early 2000s or 90s, we're just not dealing with those situations now. So that's pretty great.
Jeff.
I think mine's more of a music trend than an audio trend, but I think in the last decade or two, young people were less inclined to pick up guitars and basses and drums and other instruments and form bands. And I think I'm seeing that trend change, and I'm loving that young people are getting into actually just playing music together rather than they kind of got into just building beats on computers and all that kind of stuff. And there's still all that, and they're bringing that together. But seeing young people just like jamming in their garage is an awesome, awesome thing.
Alex.
Yeah, I second that. I think my daughter's in like 5 bands right now, and just this constant experimentation. And I think that connected to that is also, outside of all the computers and everything, the ease of being able to record now is just incredible. Like I've talked about this on the show before, but my daughter and the lead singer for one of her bands wanted to write a new song, and they told me the day before, and so I just kind of grabbed an iPad and grabbed a USB Pre 2 and plugged it into the USB-C and just handed it to them. And they came out with a song, layered takes, like all, and they'd never used Logic before. They were using Logic on an iPad, recording all the harmonies and doing all the stuff that they needed to do. And it's just kind of incredible, to me, that the technology of being able to just do that in a bedroom without any, there was a lot of equipment before, and it was a song that, I've said this before, and I'll play it at some point. Well, they're going to stream it this Sunday because we're actually going into a recording studio to stream it for office hours this Sunday. So they've got 3 original songs, but so you get to hear it this Sunday. But they did it, the first one, in its current state. If someone had sent it to me as a music director, I'd put it on air. And that's the power of it. I remember Rick Beato sometime earlier this year said. He's like, this is why there's no more good music. And he's complaining about X, Y, and Z. And I asked my daughter what she thought. She's like, it's never been better because everyone can record in their, and there's, if you go to Spotify or Apple Music and, there you just explore all these things. Now there's not a lot of people making money at it. There's an enormous amount of music, people expressing themselves in different ways. And so I think that's a really interesting trend, that everyone has the tools that they need to even publish. You get a BMI, license, and then go to CD Baby or whatever, and you're going to put stuff on Apple Music without there's nobody in between, that has to be there. So I think that trend we're going to continue to see that grow. And I think that's going to be in a combination of what Jeff just talked about, which is that more people are going back to it. I think that I think a lot of people thought AI was going to take over. It really feels like AI is making people want analog more across the board. Like not just they want things that are more handcrafted and everything else, because of the mechanization of that has made them feel like, oh, I don't want any of that, there. So I think that's really interesting. Of course, I'm really interested in spatial, so I'm paying a lot of attention to ASAF, which is Apple Spatial Audio Format, which is really a head-worn format. So it's ambisonic based. And I'm really fascinated by that, and so that's something I'm going to keep on watching. There's very little information out right now about it, but APAC and ASAF are going to be really, really interesting. APAC is the Apple Positional Audio Codec. Those two are going to be really interesting because they potentially are much higher resolution than Atmos. So they're not the same as Atmos. Atmos solves a different problem, bigger problems. So in many ways, Apple's just very focused on this one little thing. So I'm interested in that. And then, of course, I've been working for the last 4 years on concerts to theaters, which you'll probably see next year. So that's very close to the surface now. We've been testing, and it's pretty cool.
Marty.
Yeah, the prospect of younger people coming together and doing things that are both organic and acoustic and analog is a very, very exciting trend. I'm really happy to see that happening. So thank you, Jeff and Lindsay and Alex for that. For me, the most exciting thing that I'm looking forward to is the continued evolution in acoustics and how loudspeakers are interacting. We had a question earlier in the show about how to deal with problematic conference rooms and how to deal with feedback and echo and all that. And part of that problem is that the tools that we've had to use work in a certain way that are really not helpful in rooms that are acoustically problematic. In fact, they exacerbate the problems. Point source speakers, line arrays, things like that, because they just are readily reflected off of surfaces and in other ways that they work cause phase cancellations and things. And that's been a big problem, but it's what we've had to deal with pretty much until very recently when, this new type of speaker technology called distributed mode loudspeakers from one manufacturer in particular, Flat Panel Audio, became available. That pretty much is an evolutionary step in how sound can be produced in these kinds of in any kind of space, really, that just turns all of those disadvantages into advantages pretty much. And I'm excited to see where it's going to go. It's transforming the way that integrators and sound designers are doing installations in theaters and in gymnasiums and conference rooms and all kinds of places. That's what I'm looking forward to.
And Courtney.
Well, Nathan, there's this thing called AI. Have you heard about it? I've noticed a trend in the last year, at the end of the year, last year or so, with the introduction of the generative video generators like Sora 2 or Veo 2 and Sora 2.5 or whatever it's up to now, is that when they generate a video with audio, they're actually generating, they'll do a man on the street interview, and it'll have that really crummy sound of someone hand-holding a little 2.4 gigahertz wireless spike and overmodulating it, and it's so accurate in recreating that crummy sound. I look forward to the fact that maybe AI will be able to automatically have a filter that will, once you turn it on, will let you hear Kanye West's real voice and remove all of the auto-tune and take you back to those good old acoustic days that we all knew and loved from the 70s and 80s before everything was modified. But also using AI in Sudor Udio to create arrangements for the people that aren't talented enough to do the background vocals and the string section and the horn section. You can take a song and then have the AI generate an accompaniment that is pro-level quality. That's really exciting.
Jeff.
Back to the music discussion, the thing that I have done with my intro audio students kind of as an icebreaker and get to know them is to have them go around the room and tell me your favorite artist of all time and your favorite artist right now. And 25 years ago, 70% plus of the class would know someone else's favorite artist of all time. It's down below 20% now. That because of what Alex talked about with the ease of access and the ease of distribution, there are these niche artists who have 10,000, 50,000 fans around the world who are distributed everywhere and nobody knows about them. You've never heard of these artists, and they're fabulous. They're making great music and they have a fan base. And I think, Alex, this is one of the great things about your concert distribution in movie theaters is that these acts can now reach them without having to tour.
And Alex.
Yeah, I think that to your point, one of the things that when I go in, there's bands that I don't know who they are, and they have more fans than even 30 or 40,000. I go with my daughter to see bands, and I'm just blown away by the quality of the band, and I'm just like, how does no one know about this? And how did 1,000 people know about it? We went to see a band called the Oh Hellos, which they're okay. The recordings are okay. They're not. I mean, they just don't have. I would never listen. I would never think of them twice, except that the live show was unbelievable. Like just this incredible live show. But Axe and the Hatchet Men, have 1,000 people showing up to see them. Almost nobody knows. I was looking at they're playing in Indiana next year. I was trying to figure out where we might shoot them. And there's a venue for like 1,000 people that they're going to sell out, which we saw them in front of 150 people. Flip Turn, 2,200 people showed up for Flip Turn. I didn't know who they were before I showed up. I mean, it's a great band, by the way. But when I look at that and I think about theaters, I multiply that by 50. Like if 2,000 people will show up in Oakland, California, 50 or 100,000 will show up somewhere, to do this. If you look at the size of the venue that they're playing in. And so I think that is, to your point, the opportunity is to be able to have bands that would never be able to, get that kind of viewership or that kind of revenue, be able to do that instantly. And I think that what we're doing with the studios is also designed around that, in the sense that what we've worked on for the stages is it only works in the theater. I know it sounds crazy, but the video that we're shooting in the theater, not viewable on a phone. Like it just doesn't, because it's a single camera, it's wide. It looks great on a giant screen, but it doesn't look good. It's not compelling on a screen less than about 20 feet wide. So it's a really fascinating problem that is its own world. So how do you do with the small world, the small screens? And that's what we're doing with the studio. So the studios are, the idea of recording studios are the perfect place to have this kind of personal, concert, which, to your point, Jeff, scales the same way. I do think the other thing that's interesting about what Courtney was talking about is that the AI now being able to strip out all the stems apart. There's a lot of songs that you listen to in the 80s and you just realize that they just overproduced them because that's what they did then. You listen to and there's an opportunity now, I think, to take the vocals out, take some of the other stuff out, and then put them all back together with a little bit more of an acoustic sound. Because there's a lot of the ones that I just really wish people would, like a Tracy Chapman. If you watch Tracy Chapman play, like for Nelson Mandela's, you realize she only needs a guitar, but somehow they added all this other production around her. When they did her first album, and you realize it'd be really good for her to do an acoustic tour. I don't know if she's ever done that, but I'd love to have that album redone acoustically, which Alanis Morissette did a couple of years ago for Jagged Little Pill. And it's just so much better. And I think that we are, as consumers, we really want to see more analog. I just think that's going to keep on coming up, is that we're going to see more analog and less AI. And that's a really interesting trend that I didn't expect to see.
If you'd like to have your questions answered on the show, be part of our community, you can do that by going to officehours.global/join. Just put in your name and email. We'll send you the information and links that you need. You got to get those questions into Makana, our Q&A system, where you can post those questions, vote on them, and chat with us live on the show. There's lots of lively chat happening now, so you're missing out if you're not doing that. Let's go to the next question.
Okay, the next one comes in from a stranger named Alexander Knight in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, and our host today. Is 99% isopropyl alcohol damaging long-term to comply foam tips for in-ear monitors? After 2 weeks, they look a little beat up. If so, what is the best way to clean them?
Corny.
Well, yes, 99% isopropyl alcohol is a solvent. And the complying foam tips are made of a urethane, closed-cell urethane foam. So over time, it'll break down the foam and maybe poke little holes in those sealed foam, and it'll cause it to decay. So I think the best way to clean them, they're designed to be able to replace them. So buy some replacements after they start to break down a little bit. But clean them with hot, soapy water. Find an antibacterial soap like Dawn dishwashing liquid in the antibacterial version so that you kill the bad things without having to use the alcohol. And wash them out with that in warm water, which will dissolve that nasty earwax, and wash it away, and it will probably keep them to last a little bit longer. And make sure you squeeze them out really good after you're through washing them. And let them air dry before putting them away in a sealed container so that they don't rot.
Mickey.
Yeah, as Courtney mentioned, but I wouldn't use isopropyl alcohol on foam ear tips. For cleaning them out, I just use a dry piece of cloth, dry, what do you call this, microfiber cloth to just wipe it down, get any of the disgusting ear stuff off of it. I find though that I have to replace mine anywhere from 2 to 4 months of use. Just have to, keep a stock of them, and when you see them, because over time you will see them start to tear, especially because you have to squeeze it to put it in, and when you pull it out, sometimes it gets tugged on. So it is an expendable. So every couple months, switch them out.
And go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, the price I would just that's just something, it's a couple cups of coffee at Starbucks to get them to do them. I wouldn't try to extend their life at all. I would I was turned on to these by Mickey, and consider them kind of, especially when we hand them to other people, like I just have a bag of that we swap them out, and when the artists are done, if they don't have their own in-ears, I just give them something so that they can hear themselves, and I just use these, and when they're done, I throw them away. like they're not it's like gaff tape, and it's really but they're super comfy. They fit almost every ear, especially if you have all the different sizes, and it just works.
The thing that before I go to the next person, the thing that I find is that they're not exactly super cheap. Like, I bought a 3-pack on Amazon of Comply foam tips, and it was $22. So it's not like they're 5 cents to buy or anything. Go ahead, Mickey.
Yeah, if you want to give them a try, there are also AliExpress specials on them, which in my experience work okay. I haven't heard any differences in terms of the transmission and reproduction with those, but they do not last nearly as long as the Comply ones, but they are a tenth of the price. I also want to say for our AirPods using friends there are also Comply ear tips for AirPods Pros. And they work pretty darn well, just like in the normal in-ears.
Chris.
Oh, yeah, I would just for anybody who is using just disposable in-ears, it is absolutely considered like poor form and highly unsanitary to not give brand new foam pieces to ears to somebody. So just for anyone who's out there, if this is the way that you're going, it is gross to do that. Just straight up, it's not okay, and it's gross, and it's highly frowned on. So if you're doing it, that's your job, and your job is to have the things that you need to do your show. And if you can't do that, then that's the next thing in your equation that you need to sort. But don't give people used. That's gross.
Alex.
ProGaff tape is about $20 a roll, and we go through about a roll every time we do a show. So when we think about the cost of things, it's again, these are just, you want to think about them as expendables. And again, as Chris said, and I will push back the foam ones. Absolutely. If you have rubber ones, you can clean them carefully with alcohol and so on and so forth. We have these tips that we use for broadcast in here,
but not in the same show.
No, not in the same show.
That's not just so people know.
Yeah. No, not like that.
Next question.
Next question comes in from Jeff Francis in Columbia, South Carolina, and here on the panel. Need playback of video plus 3 channels of audio, stereo plus a click track. Obviously, the click must never route to the channels 1 and 2. First thoughts is QLab. Any other suggestions?
Mickey.
Yeah, I would default to QLab unless I need very specific video playback requirements. Say, HDR, higher frame rates, and support for other video interfaces aside from Blackmagic and the built-in display outputs on your computer. For those more specific playback needs, I would probably look at Softrons on the air for that. But for just straight like normal, I just need to play a video with a click track and all that, QLab, good, very affordable solution. Of course, you would need the audio license to be able to play back more than 2 channels and route those 2 channels independently. Route those more than 2 channels, in your case 3 independently. But yeah, it's still very affordable, especially if you think of the rent to own system that they do.
And Jeff.
Thanks, Mickey. I was just trying to think if there was a way to use some kind of video file with multi-channel embedded in it. I was thinking QuickTime Player or VLC, but any type of multi-channel audio, I was worried about potential downmixing, and that's why I'm like, don't want that to happen. So,
Mickey,
if that gives you any more food for.
Yeah, something like QuickTime or VLC doesn't give you nearly as much control with playback as software that's really meant to do playback for events, something like QLab. But a workaround you can do, I guess, is to I assume you're working in Pro Tools or some kind of DAW to create the soundtrack. You can create a 6-channel output, essentially what might be seen by something like QuickTime as a 5.1 mix. And it would be ordered in LRC, left, right, center, and have your audio interface or be set up as a 5.1 audio interface using your audio MIDI setup within Mac OS. And treat the center channel essentially as your click track channel. That's sort of a workaround. Have 3 channels within that single track with your content, and then the remaining 3 channels be blank silence with a PCM waveform in there, of course.
And Alex.
Yeah, just to build on the I think QLab is probably what I probably lean into. The for playback, for really high end playback, when we really needed a lot of control and a lot of channels, we found that the Softron on the air was just unbeatable. On the Mac. So we had a project where we were doing HDR. So we had a 10-bit output and I think Softron might have added it or added it at the time for us. So we had a 10-bit output, and then we had 37 channels of audio because there was surround, but different languages across all of those. And Softron was able to effortlessly put that together, which is kind of amazing.
Chris.
It's interesting. I'll create like 6 or 8 channel audio files that I deliver along with the big videos that I do, but it never occurred to me. I'm not entirely sure what they're playing the stuff back on, but typically I'll deliver 3 separate video files for 3 or 4, sometimes 7 different screens. And then they also want the audio as a wave, a multi-channel wave, but I'm not sure what they're playing it back in.
And Watch Out is another one that does multi-channel output. So that's another one we call it Lookout.
Is that what it's actually called?
It's called Watch Out, but we call it Lookout because it's always there's always something wrong. But Watch Out is a playback. The problem with Watch Out is that it has this ability to move things around. When you end up with every time someone's using Watch Out, I'm always like laser focused on the top lines and the bottom lines of the frame because they don't get it registered correctly, and there's some analog way to do that. I'm sure that gives them some new thing, but it screws up our streams all the time, and they don't see it because they're only worried about projection against the screen. No one notices that there's a couple extra pixels on top and bottom, but on YouTube they do. So Watch Out is one thing. Now, what we do with Watch Out with those multiple tracks, oftentimes, is the stream is not allowed to play copywritten material, but the room is. And so we'll have two sets of stereo. So, and what happens is we get everything is mixed to us with all of the music mixed in, but it's all stuff that is some kind of needle drop that they paid licensing for just for the stream. So the stream isn't quite as good because then it's all pop songs during the show. And as long as there's not any open mics and you don't hear the back and forth of it, it sounds pretty good. It's usually for interstitial stuff. It's interstitials and things in between.
So the room gets Bruno Mars, but the stream gets Premium Beat.
Exactly.
Jeff.
Yeah, that confirmed. Using VLC or QuickTime, I think, is a cheap, dangerous way to kind of do this. That multi-channel idea is great as long as the multi-channel audio interface does not get switched accidentally to stereo and then it down mixes the click into the center. So I think QLab's the way I'm going to go.
We see people do it with VLC and QuickTime, and it's never good. Like, it's always clunky, and you always see some weird vestige of something that they were doing. It's never a great experience.
Next question.
Next question comes in from Berlin, Germany. L. Wilson Spyro asks, the Unreal makes it difficult to accept live audio from other software. Should I try a hardware route? For example, send my audio out from a program into a hardware device and then use that hardware device as a multi-channel audio source in Unreal.
Mickey.
I haven't worked directly with audio into Unreal, but if it's pretty straightforward and it can't take audio from a virtual audio device, I'd probably look at Audio Mover's Omnibus. You can create virtual devices with Omnibus, and those virtual devices can be fed from other applications, physical and audio interfaces plugged into the computer, or even I think you have a question coming up about NDI. It can also take audio via NDI sources from the network.
And Alex.
I do think they're going to use a hardware device to make this work. So the off the shelf, I don't know of any. I had to deal with this, and I haven't dealt with it for a couple of years. But Unreal does not have a lot of great inputs for multi-channel input. It can do object-based audio internally if you're building a game or something like that, but it isn't able to do. My experience is it's not very good at getting audio in and out in a multi-channel format. You can do it with the API. So you can write your own thing to do that. You could probably at this point vibe code your own solution for that because it's, of course, Unreal it's a very open architecture. So it's designed that way. So if you want to build your own pipeline for that, you probably can. But it's what it comes out of the box. I think it's really a 2-channel system.
Next question.
Coming in from Toronto, Canada, Craig Kadoke asks, Mickey, you put in chat the other day how you had created a 5.1 pipeline for Office Hours Global in 3 different content delivery networks. Could you elaborate on the workflow and the differences of each CDN needed?
Go ahead, Mickey.
So yeah, what I mentioned I think a couple of days ago wasn't the 3 CDNs, but 3 mixing engines, or I guess a mixture of mixing engines and panning engines. The first one would be we had set up Office Hours to be able to be panned around in a 5.1 mix through a Yamaha QL1. After that, we also experimented with the L Acoustics Elisa system, which has a hardware processor, but they also have a software version which is called Elisa Studio. And we even I even programmed in some presets that can be recalled by Isadora depending on what the super source layout is called in the ATEM, or what um, multi-view layout is called for the gallery view. And we didn't make those connections in terms of calling those presets for automation, but those were already built in. So yeah, QL1, Elisa, and as well as making the 5.1 mix within Pro Tools and software. So those were the three different systems wherein we built the capability to pan things around for office hours in 5.1 or larger.
Alex.
Yeah, one of the intentions there has been to make sure that we understand how to do. The goal is that I think that where it doesn't make as much sense when people are talking. So like what we're doing every day, although we have thought of fun ways to do things like, add commentary in like the back corner or something like that. And I'm sure Mickey would love to have surround right commentary. So while we're talking, it could be like they don't know what they're talking about. That's not the way to do that. Like Mickey could just sit back there and talk to, for the 5.1 mix. Anyway, so but the real goal is that if you look at events, I think that the events, it makes a huge difference. I mean, I think that I find myself wanting the air of the event and feeling like you're there. The first time we tested it at NAB in 2023, I immediately saw it and got feedback from it of like, wow, that feels much more like you're there. Now I don't know if we got it all right. I think that, in 2024, I think or 2025, we did it. And I felt like it was a little, the mic didn't get close enough to the camera. So sometimes it was disengaged. So I think that we had to kind of figure that out as well. But I think that but as we experiment with that, I think it does bring you into the event when you have something that can play it. There's a lot of things that can't play it. Your phones and your Android phones, the iPhone will play it, and so will the iPad, as well as a lot of the set-top boxes will all play the 5.1. And that 5.1 is continuing to roll out. Like, so it's not like it's not a static thing that we're building for. So the idea is to build for something. We're throwing the ball to where the receiver's going, not necessarily where it is right now. And so, and the fact that we use it and we show that it's possible accelerates how fast it will happen. So it really is, we have the ability to kind of affect. The easiest way to predict the future is to create it. And so that's the, so by driving it down the path for events, I think that it feels much more like you're there. And so, but the goal is to make sure that we didn't have to engineer everything every time we wanted to cover an event. So the idea is to build in the system, the pipeline, so that it's easy and we do it every day, even if it's not useful every day to do that. So anyway, that was the thought process there.
Mickey.
Yeah, just wanted to show the interface of the Elisa controller, and this was just a preliminary rough build that I worked on like way back. I guess it says here this is from 2023, and when we fire those presets up, things spread out, and you can change the timings of how long it takes to spread out and all that. So this is just going through the different gallery views that we have, from 4x4 gallery view, 2x2, and it just allows us to position things roughly like where you might want to imagine things in the 5.1 sphere, or again, this can scale up to however many channels you want, especially with the Elisa processor.
Very cool. All right, let's go to the next question.
Oh, that's me. Sorry. TJ Worrell in Minneapolis, Minnesota asks, I have a Schoeps MK41 capsule on a CMC6U preamp that has gotten noisy. Is it best to send it directly to Schoeps for repair or use a USA broker to handle the transaction?
Chris Gillen.
Yeah, I would just call Schoeps, because there's a couple things. One, I don't know if they even send parts out and let other people work on their products, so that might not be an option. But all these companies, they want to help you. They usually have great customer service departments, and we'll absolutely get back to you quickly and let you know exactly what the thing is. I would say there are a lot of incredible techs out there that just really do know how to do this stuff and are just an amazing resource if you find one. There's also a lot of people that say they're good at this and are not. So if you have someone that is not an actual service department of your, manufacturer's product, like, be careful of who you're actually letting mess with this equipment. So I have people, if something goes down, like, 5 minutes from me, I can bring it to them, and I not questioning that is totally, within spec as far as the repair goes. But that's what you want to make sure that you do. So just call them and they'll let you know.
Mickey.
Yeah. If you have a relationship with a local vendor, a local location sound vendor, I would go through them, especially if you're not, too sensitive with costs, because this first builds a nice relationship with your local store, and also you're helping a local business. And when you help them, they also tend to take care of you, especially like sound shops. A lot of sound shops are like really small mom and pop shops, often run by other sound engineers, other sound mixers, and they may have like a service unit to throw your way while your unit's being repaired while they send them out. And I find that like really helpful, like within my community, not only here in the Philippines, but also overseas, wherein like I'm a big fan in the U.S. of Gotham Sound and Communications in New York, and they help us a lot because those guys are like, it's a shop for sound mixers run by other sound mixers or other sound engineers, so they know what it's like out there. And when you need support, they're gonna give it to you. So if you're not too sensitive with prices and you don't want to just like get the cheapest solution that will get it fixed, I would look into a local shop.
And Marty.
So Schoeps microphones, especially the ones with removable capsule, exchangeable capsules, can get noisy, and there's a couple of reasons and causes for that. One is that the contacts between the capsule and the body can get dirty. They can get oxidized, and that decreases the contact and can make them noisy. So it's always a good practice to make sure that you keep those clean, even if you don't remove the capsule. Just environmental conditions can cause problems. These microphones are quite susceptible to being affected by humidity. So storing these microphones properly is important. Keep them in a sealed box with dry desiccant in them. That will keep the moisture away from them. You can find storage tubes similar to a cigar tube, but they're actually made for these microphones, shotgun microphones and others, that are sealed and will have a desiccant in them. They're good for storage. But if you have a microphone that's already noisy, the first thing I would try to do is to clean the contacts on both the body and the capsule with just a gentle electronic contact cleaner and a Q-tip swab, and then put the whole thing in a sealed box with a desiccant to dry it out, and then see what you have, if that might solve the problem. If not, you can go on to the Schoeps.de website and navigate through their service menu and find the dealers and distributors in the United States who will be great resources and provide you with much really good, reliable information about who can service them, what you can try and do yourself, tell them what the symptoms are, and they will help you out.
Courtney.
Yep, that's what I was going to mention. The contacts, I own several of these MK41s and the preamps. And these Colette-based, this is the preamp. You see there's these little connectors right here. And although the microphone has rings, complete rings of gold-plated material for these contacts, the female side only has a single little connector wiper on each side here that contacts that ring. And as you screw the capsule on and off, you're wearing down the coating, which is gold-plated nickel, on these little contacts here and there. So clean them first in case they've got schmutz on them, and look at them under a microscope or a super magnifying glass and see if that gold plating is worn off of those interior connectors. And as Marty said, that's usually the source of noise in the Colette-based capsule microphones. is either the gold plating is worn off and you have nickel against gold, which creates an electrical dielectric problem that creates noise. And so if that's the case, you're going to have to send them in for repair to, like people were saying, one of the authorized repair centers where they will have to replace that connector on the preamp itself. So bear that in mind. But try cleaning it first. I used to use Blue Shower on mine, which used to work, which is free on TF, which they don't allow into the country anymore, and except at exorbitant prices, like $5,000 an ounce or something outrageous. So try cleaning it first and see if you still have your crackly, noisy problems. If not, look at those connectors and see if they've worn down. Then you'll probably have to replace them.
Mickey.
Yeah, Schoeps microphones, especially older units, have notoriously been known for not dealing with humidity very well. That's why it's very rare that we see Schoeps microphones in countries like ours, or we do have our company has Schoeps mics, and we rarely bring them out. We only bring them out for like really controlled corporate interviews and talking heads. If this is an older Schoeps unit, like I'd say like older than 15 years old, it may be one of the older ones that don't have the redesigned circuitry that handles humidity better. So in this situation, you may want to have Schoeps rebuild the entire either capsule or preamp or whichever is actually causing the issue. And TJ did mention in chat that he doesn't have another set to be able to test whether it's the capsule or the preamp. So again, this is where going to a local shop with a unit that has like a full selection of Schoeps Colette accessories, preamps, as well as the capsules, and also on other things like if you're using one of their like extension cables for the Colette connector, like the GVG cables or the swivels. They have a mom and pop shop would have all of those so that you can really narrow down what the issue is.
Go ahead, Marty.
Mickey, you mentioned the age of the microphone, which brought something else to mind. Now, we're all assuming, I think, that the noise that that he's talking about is a constant, staticky, white kind of noise. But I don't remember what year it was, but there became a time when Nextel cell phones were out that a lot of microphones were picking up extraneous RF noise from these very bursty kind of transmissions from these phones. Every microphone manufacturer had to modify their design to bypass RF being introduced into the preamp capsule of the microphone, and Schoeps was certainly one of them. So if you have an early model microphone and some of the noise that you're experiencing is like bursts of static, then that could be an issue as well.
And Mickey, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, really good point there, Marty. There's also, if it's not constant noise and it sounds like or feels like it might be some sort of RF interference, I'll check all the screws on the preamps, because the preamps, their body is grounded to the rest of the circuitry through the screws. And if you're missing some of those screws, the body might not be grounded at all, and you're not getting that shielding around the preamp circuitry.
If you like the show and what you're listening to on YouTube, there are ways you can support us. One of the ways you can do that, since we're all entirely driven by a fantastic volunteer community, you can become a panelist, you can become a crew member. There's lots of different roles available. So if you're interested in that, you can go to officehours.global/volunteer. We would love to have you on the team. And of course, you can also support us other ways by sharing the show with a friend, or even supporting us by making a donation, which you can do by going to officehours.global/donate. Next question.
Next one comes in from Seattle, Washington. Tlaloc Lopez Waterman asks, can the panel describe different types of self-noise, and how would you describe a bad preamp versus bad gain staging versus bad power versus a bad connector versus RF interference. Anything else he's leaving out?
Chris Gillum.
I'd say the show is dead and just go home at that point. This is like, it's kind of a loaded question because it's like, hey, what can you describe what it's like when everything's on fire? And and so there's a lot of different ways that you can bring that. From the question, it looks like you're talking about a live sound environment. And so just based off of the questions, like if you're talking bad power, you're talking about, I mean, all of these different things, when you know what like a 60 cycle hum is, that's a really specific thing versus EMI, which is electromagnetic interference. That's a really specific sound. Okay, a microphone that is breaking up at certain intervals, right? That could be a preamp that is collapsing because it's got too much input signal, or maybe there's a bad cable. Maybe the instrument is breaking up there. You know what I mean? There's like a lot of things, and this can go on and on and on. But it's really, if you are putting a bunch of really affordable stuff together, you have to understand this is going to have an insane amount of line noise to it. Okay, and this is just from bad parts and smoke detector wire, and because you got all of that together. Then the shielding of the products are not. This compressor has magnetic shielding on it. It's crazy, but it's $5,000. You know what I mean? So if you're in there and you have a little mixer that is $800 and it's digital and it has all these things on it, this is not made with quality parts. It can't be. So you're opening yourself to these kinds of situations. This is the whole foundation of audio, is actually making sure, is your power good? Is the power in the building good? I mean, I can talk forever and ever, and I don't want to, weed this out for too long. But that's the real thing, is just making sure that yes, any point of your system, of your rig, can be a fail point. So this is why you want the least amount of stuff in the chain and the highest quality. If you can't afford a big thing, then get a higher quality of less. Absolutely. That's always the way, and slowly add to that. Otherwise, you're buying everything twice. You're burning money, and you're getting a horrible outcome while you're burning money. You're learning an expensive lesson that way. So that's what I'd say.
Jeff.
So I think he's looking for what are the specific sounds that we'll hear that lead us in this direction. So we, in the previous question, talked about that cell GSM noise. And then, RF is going to have a certain noise. And RF can lead you to bad cable. It could be a cold solder joint on a shield. It could be a busted shield somewhere. So what do these different things sound like? The GSM is like it's a GSM noise. It's a kind of a modem-y, kind of like digital clicking. And then if you have like phantom power problems, especially on like Neumann mics, you'll get a fitz that kind of comes and goes. So it'll come in and then stop. So you get kind of sound in a mic that would lead me, especially if it's a Neumann mic. I need to make sure phantom power is being received there. If I'm got a mic and it's 6 dB low, or it's maybe missing low end, I'm going to look at one of my lines, hot or cold, and my balanced cable is broken. So I'll still get signal, but and this is why having troubleshooting one mic is the hardest. When you have at least two microphones, especially if they're a pair and they're the same microphone, then you have usually, let's hope, one of them is working fine, and you can always swap things between the working and the non-working. So you swap microphones, and you can see if it's the microphone or the cable or the preamp or the patch bay or the A to D converter. If you're just doing one, never grab. If you suspect a cable, don't grab a cable off the shelf. Take a known working good cable and swap into that. Because if you grab one off the shelf, you might have just grabbed a broken cable off the shelf, and now you're substituting a broken thing for a broken thing. Bad gain staging. Bad gain staging is either going to be, if you're clipping, you're going to get distortion. Should be able to hear that. And then if you have bad gain staging in that your noise floor is too high because you're having to increase, you're just seeing a general increase in white noise. Bad preamp, Chris was talking about things collapsing. Oftentimes if, a capacitor's starting to die, you'll hear this intermittent distortion. Things will crunch and collapse. So it's hard to make these. We need to make a collection of little audio files that are here's when you hear this sound, go look in this area. When you hear RF interference, that leads you to say this is RF interference, this is electromagnetic interference coming in. But now, what's the problem? Is it a poorly shielded microphone body? Is the microphone body not connecting to pin 1 on the shielded mic cable? Is it a bad cable? There's all those kinds of things. So identifying this is an RF problem is a good thing, and then knowing where to look is the next step.
Mickey.
Yeah, excellent points. A bad preamp. Jeff and Chris touched on preamps that are defective, and you'd often see variations in the gain, like suddenly a boost and suddenly a drop in the gain if it's something like a capacitor going bad. But if you mean like a bad quality preamp, like a cheap preamp, that's usually signaled by a high broadband noise floor, and it's usually more discernible in the mid highs and higher end, where you get some constant hiss in the signal, especially with the gain up. Bad gain staging, if something's overmodulating, that's quite obvious to hear. You're hearing overmodulation, distortion, be it analog or digital, analog saturation. Sometimes you may want that, but that's easy to hear on the higher when things are turned up too high. But when things are set too low, then that means that signal is having to be compensated later down the line. And when you turn that up, you start to hear that noise, broadband noise from the preamps being driven too hard, especially if you have more affordable, lower quality preamps. Bad power can be there's so many things that you could get from bad power. Ground hum, as mentioned earlier, but say in situations where it's all solid state, like all ICs in there, bad power can do all sorts of things to a circuitry. It's really very hard to predict. But in an analog world, you would see your gains fluctuating up and down, as well as the hum and other power induced noise that could be added into an audio signal. Just to give context, I believe Tlaloc's asking this in context with using preamps built into a camera, because we've had prior discussions about that. Bad connector, it's usually signaled by an intermittent audio signal that gets cut off really hard with often a hard transient in both the point in time where that signal gets cut, as well as when the signal comes back. Very hard transients there. It's usually broadband, so you would hear it both in the high end and low end, depending on how wide the waveform is. RF, I don't know if you're asking about like RF induced in the cable. It could be all sorts of things. Sometimes you'd hear radio stations in your signal. If you're talking about like noise, RF noise that's affecting an RF wireless microphone system, with that, if it's an analog system, you'd hear bursts of static usually, and then a sudden loss of signal, and then the signal comes back with a sudden burst of noise. And this could happen like very quickly within multiple times in a span of a second, if you're using an analog system. Sorry, let me clarify. If you're using an analog system with a pilot tone in it, because if there's no pilot tone, it's just constant, like just wavy bursts of noise constantly without a cut in that noise. If it's a digital system, it's often signaled by just a hard cut in the audio signal there without the noise, because you wouldn't get that in a digital system. Man, there's so many things. This could be a whole like day of discussion of.
Yeah, we need a second hour for that.
Yeah.
All right, Marty, real quick.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, we could spend an entire class, several hours just discussing and demonstrating different kinds of noises that can come from any electronic stage in the signal path. But I really do like this question because it really highlights that the true value of an experienced engineer or technician is not what they can do when things go well, but how quickly and how effectively they can diagnose and address a problem when things are not going well. And that's really an important skill and only comes from experience.
And Jeff.
So talking about bad preamp, bad microphone, meaning not going bad, not broken, but just poor quality, then you have to go to basically listening, and oftentimes it's a gut instinct. I have a microphone and it works. It is a microphone. It turns sound into audio waveforms as electricity. And I put that microphone up, and yes, it sounds like a singer. But never have I put that microphone up, and this is the only microphone I've ever purchased in my life where I feel like I didn't spend enough money. You know, I cheaped out. And you put that mic up, and you just go, yeah, no, take it down, put something else up. And you put something else up and you go, that's what it's supposed to sound like. So every time you put it up, you never get that, yes, this is it, right? When you put that up and you realize that's then you're going through something, either the microphone, the preamp, whatever, is just a poor quality. And your ears are opening up that you're demanding the next stage up. So that's a different kind of problem, is just poor quality as opposed to broken something. But you begin to go, yeah, if it just doesn't satisfy, that makes you look for something else.
Thank you to all the panelists for bringing your incredible knowledge. That was a very, very dense hour. We had some incredibly technical answers there, but it was fantastic. And of course, thanks to you, the producers, for putting in these questions. We wouldn't have a show without you, and the incredible back-end crew that wakes up to put this show on to make sure everything's prepped and looks and sounds great. Put all the pieces together. We couldn't do it without you. If we were to have traveled around the world to answer all these questions, we would have traveled, according to the Talak Traversal, that would have been 36,000 miles. That's 58,000 kilometers and 286 million bananas for scale. Happy New Year, everyone. Let's jump into After Hours. See ya.
Don't clean your bananas with.
I wonder if we can distill that down to a potassium quotient.
PQ?
Yeah, PQ. A little PQ
Potassium
there.
quotient, yes.
What's the PQ for today? Yeah, it's about a 6.3. I don't know what
Alex, it's been an honor, man.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get
Alex is about to slip off.
We got
the
it.
pectin curtain. Yes. Not to be heard from again.
Keep us updated on your concert to theater program.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I think that's it's super close now. I think we'll have all the theaters. I think this every month, but I think that all the theaters will be completed by the end of January. So we've got there's like little things to work on. And Jeff, I'm sending you an Image Pro to go back to North Carolina.
Did anybody evaluate the DC, Maryland, Virginia market?
Yeah. Chad did the DC market. I think I pinged you and then you didn't respond quick enough.
I wasn't. Well, I remember one that I just couldn't do.
Yeah, I think that will. And then Chad could do more.
When Alex calls,
how fast it goes. Chad was like, what can I,